What's up everyone, Shaddix here, and welcome to my power scale of the Animator Versus Animation series. So recently, I just rediscovered this gem of an animation on YouTube, and I said to myself, this would be really easy to do my first video on, so why not just do it? Basically what I'm going to be doing in this video is ranking 10 major characters from Alan Becker's Animator Versus Animation series, Animation vs Minecraft series, and a few other animations that he's done. I'm going to be ranking these characters in terms of how they would stack up to each other in a one-on-one fight on a basic Windows 10 desktop. And I chose a basic Windows 10 desktop since that's usually where these characters fight. I'm only going to be ranking characters that Alan originally created, so no Mario from Animation vs Mario and other stuff like that. Some characters will be ranked on the same number as others, because they are equal to or close to each other in terms of strength. And lastly, no weapons or outside amps like the Minecraft block or Herobrine possession. Also, go check out Alan Becker's YouTube channel and the Animation Versus series if you haven't watched them before. So let's start off with the characters that are of the lowest of the low in 6th tier. The characters in 6th tier are Red, Yellow, Blue, Green, and Victim, the very first creation that the animator or the creator made. Red, Yellow, Blue, and Green are here because they don't have any distinguishable feats that make them stronger or weaker than the other. When fighting the Orange Stickman or the Second Coming, they all fared the same, going down in a few hits, and this is when they were teaming him too, so it's safe to say that none of them rank above each other or the Orange Stickman. On to the other fighter in the 6th tier, we have Victim. Victim has barely any screen time, only being featured in one 2-minute video. And you can possibly place him below Red, Blue, Yellow, and Green, but I decided to give him the benefit of the doubt as he did do better than them against the creator, with him lasting way longer than the 4 Stickmen did against the creator. In the first Animator vs Animation, Victim fights the animator for about 2 minutes before being deleted. However, you can argue that the animator killed Red, Blue, Yellow, and Green instantly because he had already been through the whole Stickman thing 3 times and he didn't want another accident like those to happen again. However, you can argue this by saying right out the gate, Victim knew how to fight the animator and clone himself, while the 4 Stickmen didn't even know what to do when the animator showed up, giving Victim points to his strategy and intelligence. But you can counter this argument by saying that the 4 colored Stickmen are faster because Green, who is equal to the other 3, is able to build this big ass behemoth in like 40 seconds. See what I'm talking about here? It's debatable, so that's why I'm going to move on to the next character in 5th tier. In 5th tier, we have one character, and that is the purple stick figure. Now you may be wondering, why is purple above the other 4 colored stick figures? Well, that's because I decided to give him his champions powers from Animation vs League of Legends. Now I know I said no temporary amps, but since purple ate all of the files for the champions powers, it's safe to say that they're a part of him unless the league file gets deleted. And also I want to make the ranking more diverse and interesting than just saying that purple is on the same level as the other 4 Stickmen, because that would be boring, and yeah. So enough talking about that, let's just get into the reason why he's above all the characters below him. With the powers of all the champions, Purple was able to defeat Orange Stick Figure while he was armed. The crazy thing about this is that Orange was able to defeat all 4 of the colored Stickmen while they were teaming him and while he wasn't armed. And to further support Purple's placement, he was able to keep Red, Blue, Green, and Yellow from hitting him while he was sitting down and not even trying. Oh yeah, and this is when they were armed with champions' weapons themselves. So yeah, I think this proves that Purple is above the other 5 characters that are below him easily. Moving on to tier 4, we have the Animator. Now if you've seen the series, you may be thinking, what? The Animator is the strongest, he created the strongest characters in the series. Now I don't know if you caught all that, but not all of that is true. And to prove that, we gotta go to the character in tier 3. The character in tier 3 is the Virus. Now let me explain why I put him above the Animator. So imagine that God had a hand, and that hand is the only way he can influence the world. Now imagine if you were strong enough to cut this hand, but since God is God, he can just get his hand back. Now imagine if you could stop God from getting his hand back. That's exactly the relationship between the Animator and the Virus. Since the Animator can only control things through the mouse, if the mouse is destroyed, which multiple people on the list have done by the way, he can't do anything. So when the Virus destroys the mouse and the way of getting it back, the Animator can't do anything. So the Virus is just gonna do what it do, overheat the computer and power it off, which wouldn't kill the Animator, but it would remove him from the battlefield, which would technically be a BFR. And no, I'm not counting any other items like an Xbox controller or antivirus software. I don't know why the animator doesn't have antivirus software on his computer, even though he had it on his last computer, but whatever. Now, I didn't actually explain why the animator and the virus are stronger than the other 6 characters, so let's do that. The animator is stronger than all the other characters below him by default because he can literally just end their process on the Windows Task Manager and it would be a GG, like they can't do anything to it. The virus, on the other hand, just has hacks. He can bite anything and it would turn into basic code. Basically, if the virus was real and it bit you, you would turn back into basic atoms. And not only does the virus have hacks, it's extremely strong and durable. This thing got ultra comboed by red, blue, yellow, green, and orange, and after that they stomped him out, and he didn't even look damaged at all. The only time the virus looked fatigued was when it was about to die, because the Chosen One had just done his Injustice 2 type super move on him. And even then, the only reason the Chosen One survived that encounter with the virus was because he had antivirus hacks, which we'll get into in a second. Overall, the virus and the animator would have been the strongest characters in the series, and I thought they were for a little while making this video, but then I realized the true power that the next 3 characters possessed. Now on to the next 2 characters in tier 2, which are the Chosen One and the Chosen One's enemy, the Dark Lord. Both of these characters were some of the strongest characters in the series for a while, and if it wasn't for the character at number 1, they probably both would have destroyed the internet. Let's just go over how powerful they are in general. First of all, the Chosen One was able to break out of his little highlight box with fire powers right out of the gate, already implying that this is not the same beast as Victim, the first creation. Second of all, he does more damage to the window that he's in like a 1/9 of the time that Victim was alive, so yeah. After that, he goes to the home screen and fights off various different icons from a bunch of different applications, and then he fights off a virus protection system, and the animator has to lock him in a box to stop him. Oh, and that was just his first appearance. So we already know that the Chosen One is stronger than Orange simply based on the fact that he did way better at actually fighting the creator and multiple other desktop icons with their own unique powers and abilities, whereas Orange was running away from the creator and only fought him because he had nowhere else to hide. And we know that being stronger than Orange means that you're stronger than the Colored Quartet, as I like to call them now, and Victim. Moving on to the third animator versus animation, when the Chosen One breaks out of his ball and chain, he basically does the same thing as he did when he was first created. He destroys the window and tries to break out. And during this breakout, he actually does so well in fighting the animator and Clippy from Microsoft that the animator had to make another stick figure of equal power called the Dark Lord. After that, the Chosen One and the Dark Lord get into a huge battle involving other desktop icons ganging up on the Chosen One, but he still in the end wins and proceeds to recruit the Dark Lord and destroys the computer. But somewhere inside of me, I still think that Purple would beat both the Chosen One and the Dark Lord in a one-on-one fight. And I say this because Purple has a way more diverse moveset than them. Like, they have ice, fire, lightning and stuff. Purple has all that too, but he has like shields and a bunch of swords and a giant lizard and stuff, and I just feel like he would overwhelm them. However, all that changes in Animator vs. Animation 5. And before we even go over how powerful the Chosen One and the Dark Lord were in their final battle, we have to go over the flashbacks of them destroying multiple websites, particularly Stickpage and Newgrounds. When these two invaded the web, they had people like Henry Stickmin running, and I know that doesn't sound threatening, but keep in mind that Henry Stickmin can pull out anything to save himself in any situation. Another person that they had running for their lives is Alien Hominid, a being that has a gun that can vaporize soldiers in seconds. And those were just 2 examples. They had way more people running than just them. I think that this showing of power proves that the Chosen One and the Dark Lord are above the Purple Stickman and the Animator. I mean, these two busted into the game section of Stickpage and had literally everybody running. And those were just the flashbacks. We haven't even gone to the present day versions of them yet, so let's go to that. During the events of Animator vs. Animation 5, the Chosen One takes on the virus and beats him with mild difficulty. Keep in mind that the Dark Lord is equal to the Chosen One in power too. We already went over how strong the virus is compared to everybody else, so we know by default that the Chosen One and the Dark Lord are above everybody else that we've talked about up to this point. Now before we move on to the character in number 1, we have to discuss the Chosen One and the Dark Lord's final battle. For most of the fight they were fighting equally, but then the Dark Lord puts on his virus command power ring thingy, and we already went over the rules, so that doesn't count. No outside amps. Alright, finally moving on to number 1. The best of the best. The cream of the crop. Yeah, it's orange. We all already knew this. I mean, how could you not miss this? Basically, he's been lurking in the background the entire time. Now you may be questioning, why is orange at number 1? He can only barely fight the Animator equally, and his power up only lasted for 2 minutes. Well, my friend, you are right about that. But that damn power up though. It's probably the strongest power up any character has had in the series, but before we talk about that, let's talk about Orange's base form, since he's no pushover in that form either. As we discussed before, Orange, or the Second Coming, was able to defeat the Colored Quartet while they were teaming up on him. We already know what this means for Victim, so I'm not going to talk about it. Secondly, he was able to resist being deleted while enraged, and also while enraged, he was able to put up a good fight against the Animator. Not as good as the Chosen One, but not as bad as Victim. However, with both of these accomplishments, he still gets dispatched by Purple, the Virus, and the Animator. And with all these feats and anti-feats, I would put Orange's base form in between the Colored Quartet and Purple. Oh gosh. On the other hand, Orange's God form is a completely different character. It's easy to say that he just defeats every other character in the series by just saying that he destroyed a Virus Ring enhanced Dark Lord, but nah. I want to prove it to you that he is the strongest. A counter argument to the fact that Orange is the strongest character in the series is by saying, oh, the Dark Lord, he was fatigued, of course he couldn't beat Orange. He fought the Chosen One and the Animator for 8 minutes. Well, not only did Orange just fight the Dark Lord, he actually one-shots like 16 viruses without even flinching. Not to mention the other 20 that he cut in half. Keep in mind that the Chosen One, who is equal to the Dark Lord without power rings, had mild difficulty just trying to defeat one, let alone a whole horde rushing at him. Oh, and did I mention he can reverse the virus's effects on people? Yeah, he can basically reverse people being atomized in the cyber world. With all those feats, powers, and abilities, I think it's safe to say that Orange is the strongest character in the series. Alright guys, that was my Animator versus Animation power scale. I hope you enjoyed. Again, go check out Alan Baker's Animator versus Animation series. He's a really talented guy and he deserves more support. Anyways, drop a like on the video, maybe subscribe for some future content, and I'm ShadX and I'm out.